Hi, and welcome to Integrative Lawyers of the World. Thank you for joining us and joining our efforts to transform the practice of law to one that honors our interconnectedness, that values what is really important, and that contributes to the healing of the world. And we do this by interviewing lawyers from all over the world who are already doing these things. Hi, I'm your host, Carrie Raleigh, and our guest this episode is Ana Luiza Etchalus. Ana Luiza is an attorney from Brazil, and her practice includes civil litigation, and she's a master in international trade law. And she is also a collaborative lawyer. She uses conscious contracts. She understands and explores legal psychology in the practice of law, and she has created what she refers to her systemic legal vision. Hi, Ana Luiza. How are you?
Hi, Carrie. Nice meeting you. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for your invitation.
You are from Brazil, right? And just
Yes.
to see how our interconnectedness in our whole world is. I'm actually sitting in Albania, and you are from Brazil. You had mentioned you're from the southern region of Brazil?
Yes, it is. I am a southern girl from Brazil. I live in Porto Alegre, which is the capital of the southern state of Brazil, nearby the frontier with Uruguay and Argentina. I used to say that I live in the non-export part of Brazil because I am subtropical.
I've never been to Brazil. I would like to go to Brazil. And I would also like Uruguay and Argentina. All three of them look so beautiful. So I feel like by having you as a guest, I get to experience a little bit of it. So
Yes. Well, I would say that here in the south of Brazil, we have the same costumes that they have in part of Argentina and Uruguay, because we have the same geographic situation, which is La Pampa. The fields and the cows and and horses. We are the gauchos of Brazil, the cowboys.
Oh, okay.
The cowboys and the cowgirls.
Oh, how fun. Nice. Very nice. Before we started recording, you had mentioned to me that you're approaching 40 years of practicing law.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that seems amazing to me.
Yeah. When I heard saying for almost 40 years, I thought, oh my God, such a long time in this legal world. Yes, I've been working in the legal profession as a lawyer for almost 40 years. Actually, I started as an intern at the age of 20. I was an intern in a law office that only deal with a civil and labor law, actually litigation. And that this was my initial practical training as a professional. And since then, I've had a long career and I've worked a lot in traditional litigation, both serving individuals and companies in civil and labor, but not only civil and labor, because here in our system, civil is related and labor, both areas are related with commercial trade issues. So that's why when you asked me about my master degree in trade, it was so different, but it's related with our civil system. Okay, and I've been practicing, like I said, since in 2010, I wrote and published a personal book dealing with research I did about my Basque origins. I live in the south of Brazil, but I have Basque roots, so it's a bit crazy.
Okay.
But I started to, when I did that and do the book's success, I started to rethink myself as a human being, and of course, the way I was working. It reflected the way I was practicing my profession.
What prompted you to start this book project? It's about the Basque Country, and that's where your family is from?
My grandfather came from Basque Country, and my father spent all his life talking about the origins without anything in his head to understand what was being Basque. So he connected some cousins in Buenos Aires in the 70s, and he was very enthusiastic. And then in the 70s we restarted to have, well, suddenly we had a big family with cousins in Argentina. So it was very excited and rich because there's different cultures, different perspectives, and different languages. And after that, unfortunately, my father passed away when he was 53. So he left this mystery lost, and then I got the I had this deep need to understand the whole meaning of being Basque. So I started as I know, my whole adult life trying to be in touch with this mystery. So I did a research, and when internet came into our houses, I spent a lot of nights trying to be in touch with something that I didn't know yet. So in 2007, and it was something very interesting. Now, I'm going to be emotional, if you don't mind, but it was a full moon. You know, is it correct to say a big moon? Yes, no, it was, oh yes, it was the blue moon.
Okay.
Blue moon. It was exactly the day of a blue moon, 31 of May 2007, when I was having French classes with a French teacher at home. And I told her, wow, I'm trying to be in touch with Basque people. I want to understand more. I would like to, I found some Etchalus surnames in the internet. I sent some emails, but they didn't answer me. And she said to me, well, they are Basques, but they are French. So they won't answer you back unless you call them. Are you sure? Yes, I'm French. I'm sure. Let's call one of them. And I said, oh, are you sure about that? Yes. Pick a name. And I said, oh, I want to call this woman. I don't know why, but I think a woman could understand better this need I have inside myself.
Who was this woman? Was she just was she someone that you thought was connected to your family, or just someone from
because of the surname? Because of the surname.
So she had the same surname as you. Okay.
Yes. And it was magical. It is magical so far. The French teacher called that woman, picked the number in a list that I didn't know.
Yeah.
and asked, "Hello, I'm Laurence. I'm a French teacher here in the south of Brazil. I'm teaching Ana Luiza Etchalus, who is a student, and she is trying to find the connection with the family lost in the middle of the time." And do you believe she answered, "Oh, put her on the line because I speak Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
And if she is Etchalus, my house is her house."
Really?
And then really, just like that. And then the teacher was petrified. The teacher was nervous, became nervous because she felt it was something, it was wow, it was something magical. And she said to me, "She speaks Portuguese." And I said, "What?" "She speaks Portuguese." And when the teacher gave me the phone, I lost my voice. Uh, and as you can see, I don't have problem. I'm not a shy person. I'm very talkative. And hello. And she said to me that she was trying to find me because she was trying to research the connection with South America. And during her research, she found my name in the internet, and she wanted to be in touch with me, but she didn't know how.
She was doing research on her own.
Yes.
The same time while you were doing research on your own. Oh my gosh, that's
Yes.
amazing. The timing
Yes.
of this and the connection.
Yes, it is. And so since then, we started to be in touch. She organized a journey, and I've been in Basque Country for the first time in 2008. When I was there, I was writing my experience in a small paper.
A journal.
A journal, exactly. And I bought a lot of books because we didn't have anything in Brazil related on Basque history. I bought books in Argentina and Uruguay, but here in Portuguese, we didn't have anything available. So my cousin from Buenos Aires sent me some books, but I wanted more. So when I've been there for the first time, I bought a lot of books. I paid a lot of money because my luggage were
Yeah.
I had to spend
fees.
a lot of money because of the books. So I came back to Brazil and I thought, wow, maybe I started to read what I had wrote, and I thought, whoa, it could be a good idea to put my emotion and to mix with some information about Basques. So the result was Basque Soul, the name of my book, which became a Basque Soul.
Basque Soul. Okay.
Yes. And so it became a huge success. I presented the book. Suddenly my life was, wow, turning, I was upside down. So I started to receive a lot of invitations. I presented the book in your country in 2012, 2011, I'm not sure. The book was translated to Spanish, and I was invited to present the book in LA in a Basque cultural fair.
Okay.
I presented the book in the whole frontier with Uruguay, a lot of cities here in the south, the frontier with Uruguay and Argentina. And in 2012, I presented the book in the Basque country. So
wow.
It was amazing because I was there in the middle of the Basques talking about Basques.
So what can you tell me about the Basque Soul or your Basque Soul?
When you be in touch with your origin, your real origin, which was something I had the opportunity to experience, it's a catharsis. It is. I was mixing mixed emotion all the time. I thought I became bipolar, or what's going on here, because I was laughing and suddenly I was crying at the same time, and it wasn't sadness crying, it was emotional.
Yeah.
Because it was so strong that I became emotional every time I talked about. So
Yeah.
this is an amulet I have. I'm going to show you. This is an amulet.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot
beautiful.
of witchery. There is a lot of witchery there. There is the sand of the backyard of my grandfather's house. So
from there is in that amulet?
Yes.
So you that's pretty cool, actually. Beautiful and cool. So you were talking previously how this experience and researching this book and then going to the Basque Country and the whole experience, how it helped transform you and your relationship with the legal profession. How did it do that?
Because suddenly, because of the book's success, suddenly I started to unite people around the same need I had to search more deeply of their origins, Basque in the case, Basque origins. Suddenly I brought people together rather than separating them through, for example, a lawsuit. So I started to be, oh my God, what's going on here? Because I always like it bringing people together. So since this fact, this book situation, it was more than a decade ago. And do you believe yesterday, a woman from the south of my state, 1 hour from the border of Uruguay, less than an hour, half an hour, she lives there. She found me and she desperately asked me an exemplar of the book because she needed to be in touch with their origins. My book's still the only thing written in Portuguese about specifically the Basque. So I told her, I have a few because the edition was sold out. So, but she insisted, and I sent her an exemplar yesterday. And when I wrote, I autographed, I wrote something. I'm going to read for you. It's an honor and an emotional situation to share with you a bit of my soul, which is your soul as well. And after all, more than a decade after the first presentation, this book still, it's something served to connect a soul to meet another soul. Thank you. And then I sent this message yesterday for her.
That's
it was
beautiful.
Great for me.
That is great.
Yes. So it was a huge impact in my mind, my soul, my heart, everything. I was just, oh my God. So I needed desperately to change a lot of perspectives. And I wanted to be in touch with, to be aware that expression, I show it through my book, didn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to, for example, to this woman. So, and this is, it's a very interesting and huge impact. So I wanted to be in touch with myself. I wanted to be quiet. I wanted to read. I wanted to understand this situation. So I got into the psychology. I restart to my academic involvement. So I devoted my attention to study psychology. I took this specialization in legal psychology, and then I got into the master and started to be in touch with mediation. After that, collaborative law, and finally, conscious contract.
I was going to ask you, so going through them, well, first, just briefly explain. I know we were talking about civil litigation. We explained what that was. What are some of the, let's go through the different things: legal psychology, then the collaborative law, and the conscious contracts. What were some of the things that you learned in your study of legal psychology?
Wow, I think I wanted to understand the disease, the psychological disease and disorders. So I'm very positive. I am an optimistic person and very romantic.
Yeah.
So I had this bad behavior to deny evil. Even I am a lawyer, even litigating, I was aware to see evil things related to people I love, but not related to me, to myself. So I wanted to understand. I wanted to go further. So in the legal psychology, I started to study the psychology diseases and disorders, as for example, narcissists and psychopaths, sociopaths. I wanted to be in touch to understand there's a scientific explanation, and it was a way to understand better the human beings, to put apart a normal human being from a not normal. I don't know how to say. So I started with legal psychology, and which helped me a lot in the universe of mediation.
I can imagine in mediation it would help because you're understanding those possible psychological, I don't want to say diseases or disorders or tendencies, behaviors, when you're trying to get parties to resolve a conflict, you have to understand who you're dealing with. Like if one side is you're sensing as a narcissist, that might affect how you mediate the case. Is that right?
Exactly. And not only as a mediator, but as a lawyer, if you understand, for example, that your client has a tendency or traits to be a narcissist.
Yeah.
I'm able to give up on the case, for example. I don't want to be your lawyer because it doesn't matter. I just don't want to be in this case because I feel that there's a disconnection between me as a lawyer and the client. So
yeah, I could see that. I know, like, because Emotions and psychology drive so much in the legal world. Not, even in my civil litigation practice, I remember being frustrated. I would talk with one of the partners in the firm where I was working, and I would just get so frustrated at the process of litigation. Meaning, early on in the case, you do your assessment, you do your due diligence, you interview the people, you could see, okay, this is where, and I'm talking about business disputes, it should settle somewhere in this range, right? Because here are the facts, here are the issues, there's strengths and weaknesses on each side, it should settle here. But it takes a year of discovery, a year of this and that to get the parties to that. And if you would just offer that amount right away and you explain everything, it wouldn't work. And the partner's like, Carrie, the parties have to do the dance. They have to feel I think maybe even said they have to feel the pain of litigation before they can let go whatever it is that they're holding on to. And I guess I really don't know where I'm going with this other than saying that there is the psychology of doing the dance of litigation that I wish there was a way to jumpstart to resolution.
We are taking a brief break from this conversation to ask for your financial support. With each episode, we hope you can see how lawyers and peacemakers like you are contributing to the healing of the world. It takes many kinds of resources for the integrative law movement to keep going and affecting change. Your monetary donation can help us continue this important work by supporting the activities and members of this community. Each contribution goes to promote the stability and accessibility of the movement and to support basic expenses like our mighty network group, web hosting, social media and event management, and this Integrative Lawyers of the World podcast. Because we like to give people choices, we have ongoing monthly options on patreon.com where you can choose a level of participation to match your budget. You can also make a one-time donation through PayPal. Thanks to our non-profit corporate sponsors, the Renaissance Lawyer Society, US supporters are able to make tax-deductible donations. Other countries check your local tax laws. To help establish confidence in your choices to support us, we have set up an open, collective, transparent plan to track how the community money is spent. For ways to support the integrative law movement and our world-changing work, go to the Integrative Law website at integrativelaw.com and click on Support the Movement tab. Search for Integrative Law on Patreon or use the phrase Integrative Law Financial Support for the Movement in your favorite search engine. Thank you for your support and spending time with us today. Enjoy the rest of this conversation.
I had asked you about how do you're a civil litigator, you have international trade, legal experience and legal work. With your collaborative law, conscious contracts, and legal psychology, how do you integrate or maneuver between all of those?
I have different tools. It depends on the characteristics of the client, of the conflict. I'm a lawyer, okay? I can be collaborative, the best collaborative lawyer in the world, but I'm able to be on litigation. It depends on the strategy. I'm able to be on the court, in front of the court. I'm good on it. I was there. I was talking with Kim other day about this. Wow, I was in the front of a judge 2 weeks ago, talking and presenting my oral argumentation, and I was very comfortable because this was a kind of conflict that demanded litigation. The situation demanded litigation, but there are other kinds of conflicts that you have to avoid litigation. You have to try to solve in collaborative ways, collaborative law or process or practice or mediation or negotiation, but I have a lot of tools. I don't deny any tools I have, because it's part of being nowadays a lawyer, in the way I see my profession.
How do you determine a client comes to you with a conflict and you see the other side, perhaps, or you at least talk to the other side attorney to get an assessment of the case? How do you determine, okay, this one needs to go the litigation route, or this is the type of case that really litigation is the right way to resolve this, versus maybe in this type of case, I can introduce collaborative law or at least collaborative principles to it?
Well, I think the first step is to know better your client and the situation the client brings. So I need to listen and to interpret more the things the client showed me. In the past, I didn't pay attention yet in a lot of situations, because I only had one tool. I only had litigation. So my mind was prepared to go to this corridor. But nowadays, I have to open. That's why I talked about a systemic view. I'm open to try to understand and to communicate and to exchange communication, a better communication with my client. And nowadays, I have psychological tools, I have sociological tools, I have the tools that we used to put on practice in mediation, the non-violent communication, the non-adversarial approach, and the questions, why and why and why, the 5 whys. And so I used to say to my clients that the first meeting, it's one that maybe we can spend more than 1 and 2 or another meeting in order for me to understand what's really going on. And after that, I'm going to be in touch with the other party to see if it is possible to start a negotiation or to go to in front of a mediator. But the first step and the main step is how to relate with my client, how to understand my client, to offer to my client a different strategy.
Yeah. And I imagine it means to be in a space where you're present when you're listening to your client. You're not focused on that one corridor to one path, because now you have many. So you can just be present and then determine, okay, I see the situation with my client. I see the values that my client holds. And so now I can determine what's the best tool for this client.
I had a situation in course, for example, there's a huge fight against 2 partners. They deal with, it's a clinic, it's a therapeutic clinic. They deal with, I'm sorry, I forget in English, a lot of psychological disorders, disease, and they need to be very comfortable because they are offering a very important and delicate service. But they started a fight. They started to have a very bad relationship. When one of the partners came to me and presented the situation, because I want to fight against the other partner, and I said, oh, this situation requires more reflection to generate another strategy to protect you both from your misinterpretation, because you are having, of course, problems of communication. So you have to protect your clients because you are offering psychological services. So this must be confidential, of course. And we started last week a negotiation, a very delicate negotiation to try to reconnect the communication. And I asked help for another collaborative lawyer because this clinic is far away from my city. So I'm working with another lawyer who is a mediator as well.
Okay.
So we are having those conversations, long conversations, to rebuild the relationship.
Yeah.
This is a case different from the one I talked about, that I was in court, but it requires this kind of approach. I think it requires a systemic view, because you have to understand what is going on in terms of the partnership itself, not only the relationship, but the accountability, the contracts they have together, a lot of the labor relations they have obligations with. So I need to have a systemic view, because if I say something, for example, I could give an advice, a wrong advice. So it requires much more attention, I think.
Because I could see how without having that tool in your toolbox, someone would say, like, say, an attorney who didn't have that experience, when one of the partners comes to you, they might say, show me the partnership agreement, and we're going to look to see what claims you have against that person so we could sue them in court, based on your contract, and I could see where you said in this type of situation where they are therapists or providing therapy to clients, and there's confidentiality, and you don't want their reputations as therapists, right, to come out. So that does take a more approach to go to, where a different approach, I think, is more aligned with their needs. It's nice that you were able to identify that when you're talking with your client, and not putting your what type of breach of contract, what type of claims, breach of partnership agreement, we're going to fight at all costs to get you everything that you need and beat the other side up, right? There's that path, or there's a path that, okay, what actually presents you in the best whole position, and let's see how we can get there.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
that's nice.
It's like that.
So so you're using a collaborative law approach with that. You also mentioned you do conscious contracts. Can you just tell us a little bit about conscious contracts?
Well, I've been working on, I like to build and to put people together, like I said, and to build and to help people to build relationships. And that's why the conscious contracts methodology is so passionate for me. But it requires a lot of responsibility, because it's you have to help people to create a constitution between them. The values, the principles, the system of prevention and resolution of conflicts. So it is a constitution, it's a mini constitution, I used to say. So you have freedom to choose, but you have, in the other side, you have the responsibility. So it's a very passionate work to do. So I believe this has influenced a lot of people, because each statement or live or interview I make about this, I see an increase of interests. I hope it's more than my optimistic way of looking at things, but I feel that, because we are living very challenging and different days, and it's in the whole world. We are living in a global society, and the needs of people in general, they are equalizing. So, and there's this crisis in our political and democratic and traditional systems of power. And so power belongs to the people. And it's not only a statement, it's for real. Because we have more information nowadays. I'm able to talk with you, to exchange with you, that it's in Albania, which is something amazing. And when you have information, you have power. So we have this situation that the power, it's in the hands of the citizen. And you have to respect, because it's a matter of dignity, of human rights. So when you talk about conscious contracts, you bring to a client, for example, the opportunity to be empowered, because it's amazing. I love the methodology. I love the concept. And I've been dedicating myself to go further in those concepts, because I think it could be a way to protect citizens against this unsure that we are facing, this instability of institutional stability that we are living.
Do you think conscious contracts, I guess, how would conscious contracts come into play with that? Just by building better relationships between and among people through these conscious contracts? Or do you see the conscious contracts methodology being used in how our societal systems are put into place and created?
I've been studying the theory, the relational theory of the contracts created by Ian McNeill in the 60s. And he stated that a contract is part of the human behavior, because a contract is the symbol of the exchange. And we are exchanging as human beings all the time. So this sociological approach of the contract join with the methodology, with the methodology in this case, conscious contract. It makes a lot of difference, and it became a very powerful tool, a very powerful and democratic tool to a citizen.
Maybe the idea of creating a cultural awareness again, that we are all in relationship with every other human being on this earth. And in that relationship with other human beings, let's be conscious of that and go back into understanding our social contracts with others. And there is a relationship between us and every other person. And I might just edit this all out because I don't know where it's going, but I have like these 3 ideas and I can't seem to connect
We are
down.
making a brainstorm here.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Okay, no, the thing is that people were talking a lot about to build a new social contract, a global one. And they are talking about the crisis in the traditional constitutional systems, because each country, they lost credibility. The constitutional systems are losing credibility. So I was talking with a bunch of lawyers, friends. I was talking the other day about this, about the fact that we are almost in a moment that we don't have much differences in common law and civil law, which is my system, the legal system, because we are living this global situation. We have the same needs, almost the same needs. Of course, the structure, the base structure in US is different of Brazil, of Africa. But as human beings, we are aware nowadays that we have the same needs, we have the same doubts, we have the same interests, and that's why they are talking. There's a man in German. The name of the man, let me see the name, is Günther Taubner. It's one of the greatest name nowadays. He's in German, and he has a lot of books about this new moment that we have to face in our constitutional systems, because this technological revolution produced a lot of challenges in terms of human rights. So, and it belongs to the global. It's not only a matter of 1 or 2 or 3 countries. So he is one of those men that are talking about to build a global constitution.
Interesting.
A social, it's based on a concept, a sociological concept, not only legal and political. It's a very interesting.
It would be interesting. I'm pausing. It's just like, how would that even work? Well, that's for some reading on my own. I'll read up on that. So one last question. I want to be mindful of our time, but I do have one last question for you. When you think of integrative law or being an integrative lawyer, what does that mean to you?
I'm gonna tell you a story. Until recently, I didn't know I was an integrative lawyer. I only identify my concepts with the concepts of the movement when I met Kim, J. Kim, right? And we participated together in a dynamic on a webinar. Although I already knew Kim personally when she did her first training in conscious contract in Brazil. But I had no closeness or identification with Kim's values, personal values, and her activities and habits and the characteristics of the movement she founded and she's leading. So we were on this webinar, and we were divided into rooms. And in the room with Kim, it was just me, 2 of us. And hello, Kim. And we had this incredible moment together, something like 15 or 20 minutes, to talk about our values. And when we started to work together, I found that we spoke the same language. Because and then I said, I am reflective. I've always guided my life and work based on principles and values. I've always sought to know more about myself and the world. I've always wanted to broaden my vision to have a better understanding and a systemic view, like we talked about. And I said, well, you were talking about me when we started to exchange values. So I was always very creative and had a sort of leadership spirit, being very easy for me to express myself and make a lot of mistakes in grammar, for example, and pronunciation in language. I speak besides Portuguese, in this case in English. And we started to laugh and we started to have this moment. So I decided to read more about integrative movement. And I as well, it's me. And so when I managed, like I told you, to integrate my most essential personal characteristics into my profession, a journey that, as I said before, started with the search of my origins in a true and powerful regression therapy, was that I felt whole as a human being. And as a result, I came back to rediscover pleasure in my profession. This time, I think adding what I consider the greatest value to my work, which is my soul. So today I'm very aware and happy to know that I can be considered an integrative lawyer. And you ask what I consider, well, being, in my opinion, an integrative lawyer for me means being able to unite the integrality, what I am and what I can become, because we are changing all the times as an individual, with my legal practice. It means being authentic, innovative, creative, and open. And that's how I like to think I am. I like to think I am like that. That's what's make me happy as an individual, as a human being, and of course, satisfied and happy with my profession.
I love what you said, how to be open, or to be who I am and who I may become, because we're constantly changing.
Yes.
And that's a sense of awareness. I really like that. I love everything that you said. That really resonated with me. Is there anything else that you would like to say or add before we go?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because you send me the questions, and there's a thing I would like to add in this interview, if you allowed me.
Please.
First of all, I would like to congratulate all those who are working as integrative lawyers, because I can imagine it is not an easy task. It is a long journey, and for many, very challenging. I had the happiness of making a very loving trajectory with a lot of emotion, as I told you, which resulted in my book. I think it's my third child. But I know that many integrative lawyers have gone through traumatic process and managed to transform their path into experiences of light. And this is one thing I would like to add. And the other thing, if you allow me, I would like to speak a little bit very quickly about a beautiful project that I am part of, called OLA-DC. It's Latin America Collaborative Organization. It is a project that is taking a very interesting format. And what started with a small group of Argentine and Brazilian and Colombian lawyers today involves a project with representative from 10 Latin American countries. And we are trying to create academic and leadership training projects in those countries. We recently organized an international event with the Panama Bar Association that had an average of 50 people attending each of the events of a series of 3. People from various parts of Latin America and even Europe. We created a project with collegiate, a co-direction, as a triumvirate system between co-presidents and co-secretaries. There's no hierarchy. It has been a beautiful and collaborative work. That's why I would like to mention, if you allow me, the names of the co-founders, Juan Pablo Neve, Silvina Matisic, Valeria Lombardo, Cecilia Irigoyen from Argentina, Viviana Giraldo, Pablo Arteta and Paula Gomez from Colombia, Ana Melissa Español and Mari Carmen Plata from Panama, Crista Tejada from Guatemala, Adriana de León Carmona from Mexico, Claudio El Clan from Uruguay, Diana Rodriguez from Peru, Maria Soledad Torres from Chile, Jaqueline Moraes from Brazil. I'm very proud to be part of this project, and I have formed bonds and of friendship with those excellent professionals. So this is something
Well, I'm glad that you shared it. Is this project, is it for training for collaborative law to different lawyers throughout these areas?
Yes, we are planning to do that in Spanish in each country that belongs
Wonderful.
to the organization.
How did you guys all find each other to start this project?
Online. Online. We
Okay.
found each other online, and then we started to invite friends, and we have this organization. We have a page on Facebook, and we are about to create a website. We are not a formal institution. We don't have a traditional form. We are a net, but we have this co-chairs system because we live in different countries. So each one are able to contribute with something small, but it brings a lot to the group. So it's super. I love the project.
If someone listening or if someone wants to have training brought into their country, is the trainings throughout South America?
Well, in South America, in OLA-DC, we didn't started our trainings so far. But in Brazil, we have an institute, Instituto Brasileiro de Práticas Colaborativas. It is IBPC, is affiliated with EICP.
The International Academy of Collaborative Professionals. Yeah. And it's an important thing for lawyers to learn, and it's an important thing for our society to have that collaboration and to help. You know, one of the things of the tenets of Integrative Lawyers of the World is to transform the practice of law in a way that helps heal the world. And I think that project seems to be doing just that. If anyone is interested in having your group give a training to them or to connect with your group, how would they go about contacting you or contacting the group?
Well, we have this page on Facebook, OLA-DC,
Okay.
And do you know, I'm gonna tell you something that I'm very proud of. Do you know Stu Webb?
Yes, we interviewed
Yes, he
Stu Webb.
said,
Yeah.
yes, he sent us a message. How can I register myself in this group? he, he wants to belong to OLA-DC. So we are very happy because after all, it's Stu Webb.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And it was a spontaneous manifestation. We didn't invite him. He is asking to be part of our group. So
oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
And what is the name of the group again?
OLA-DC. OLA-DC. Organización Latinoamericana de Derecho Colaborativo. Collaborative Law Latin America Organization.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. And if you allow me to say just a last phrase to the lawyers of the world, lawyers should especially understand in these times of pandemic how much the structure of the citizens is affected, especially from a psychological point of view. We still don't know for sure the true impact, the extension of the impact of everything we've experienced. Therefore, the greater the reflection, the greater the possibility of achieving effectiveness and sustainability in the legal world. And lawyers, pay attention, a legal being is first of all a human being. And finally, I would like to thank you. And my message is one of gratitude. I'm a very fortunate person. I'm grateful for everything positive in life that comes to me. I would like to leave a message of joy to people, wishing they are as lucky to find their own path as I am. And related to the origins, never deny your origin, your roots, as you may be surprised at how many questions there that were still unanswered can be answered through your roots. Don't give up, follow your intuition, or whatever it may be called. Follow your heart and your soul, as I followed mine. And I would like to send a big kiss for Kim and for her inspiring career and for the friendship that I have the honor to enjoy nowadays. Kim is amazing. And I would like to send a kiss to my beloved daughters, Laura and Sylvia, whom I hope to positively influence in life. I'm very proud of them. So I'm a Latin mom, you know. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being a part of Integrative Lawyers of the World.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a big pleasure.